to solving quadratics using square roots. How do you even know in the first place that you are going to be required to solve something? Here's the idea. Equal sign. As soon as you see an equal sign, chances are very, very good that you're going to have to go through the process of balancing an equation and solving this thing. So in the end, my variable is x. In the end, this problem right here is going to say x equals, and then whatever the outcome turns out to be. This is just something of a review problem right here. What did we have to do in order to get x by itself? Guys, don't be fooled by this problem right here. You know exactly how to do this. The very first thing that we have to do is do what? Add 3 to both sides. Now, why did we add 3? You added 3 because originally in the problem there's a minus sign. So we have to do the opposite, right? Inverse operation. So do the opposite. It said minus 3. I got to add to both sides. So now we're left with 2x equals 12. Still, trying to get the variable all by itself, what's the next thing that we have to do? You got to divide by 2. Now, why did you divide by 2? Because originally it said 2x, which means 2 times x. Divide is the opposite of times, so that's what we've got to take place. Or that's what we've got to take care of. So in this part right here, 2 divided by 2 leaves me with x. 12 divided by 2 leaves me with 6. So by doing the opposite, or by doing the inverse operation right here, we were able to break this problem down all the way and find out that x is equal to 6. Well, you know some square roots and quadratics and things are coming into play. Why? Well, that's the unit that we're dealing with right now. So we got a problem that looks like this right here. X squared is equal to 81. Okay. The variable x is over here on the left side. Okay. The idea is basically this. No matter how complex the problem becomes, we are attempting to get the variable by itself. Okay. So is there anything to add or subtract from both sides? Man, the x is all by itself. Is there anything to divide away? In other words, is there a coefficient out here in front of the x, a number in front of the variable? No, the answer to that is as well. So the last thing that we have right here is x squared. Okay. So what is the opposite of squared? Well, the same thing that we've been doing this entire unit. Square root. In order to get rid of a squared variable, I need to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is just x. And the square root of 81 becomes plus or minus 9. Now that's kind of big right there. You'll all get the fact that the square root of 81 is 9. However, because it works in our equation the way that it does, you need to be able to put the plus or minus symbol out there in front of it as well. Okay? Another example that I can fit on this page. We're going to go 11 plus 2y squared is equal to 21. Okay, so this problem becomes a little bit more complicated because I just added 2, yes, a whopping 2 more steps than the original one here in blue. Okay, so what's the first thing that I need to do? Well, we need to try to figure out what's going down. So the plan becomes this. I need to get y, that's my variable, alone. Got to get it by itself. That means I need to get rid of the 11, and I need to get rid of this positive 2 right here, and I need to get rid of this squared exponent. So the first thing that we got to do is do what? Hopefully you said subtract 11 from both sides. So when we do that, we're left with 2y squared is equal to 10. No big deal right there. Haven't done anything that you haven't done before. The next thing that we need to do in order to get the variable by itself is I'm going to take the coefficient right here and divide both sides. So we need to divide both sides here by 2. And now we're left with this. Y squared is equal to 5. We're still not done. I got one more step. If you look back here to the problem that we just did, the original problem was x squared equaled 81. Well, again, how do we get rid of a squared exponent or an exponent of 2? In order to get rid of that guy, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of y squared, just y, easy done. This one gets a little bit funky, I know. Do you know the square root of 5? You know what? I don't either. Not even worth talking about. The last thing that we have to add here to our solution becomes plus or minus. Why? Because positive square root of 5 is a solution to this, and negative square root of 5 is also a solution to this. So one more. Let's try to set us up with one more and see if there is something of a difference right here. That's one I got. Here's a crazy variable. R squared minus 7 equals 11. Okay, again, trying to get the variable by itself. This time we only have really one step to take to isolate it. I need to get rid of the 7. How? Add 7. So we're left with R squared equals 18. Feeling good about yourself right now. That's good. How do I get R by itself? The opposite of squared is square root. So now on this side right here, on the left side, it becomes R, and it is equal to the square root of 18 plus or minus. Now we got a big issue right here. What do you think the issue is? Take a look at the number 18. Can we simplify and reduce the number 18, or the square root of 18? You know it. So over here, we will take it and we're going to break down the number 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. That's as far as we can go. There's a pair right there that is the same, so they're going to go on the outside. The 2 over here is all by itself. Needs the protection of the house. So now we can take this and we can rewrite the answer and we can set it up properly. The value of R in this case is equal to plus or minus 3 radical 2. Again, the only thing that we're really adding right here, guys, to something that you should already know is the step right here where I'm taking the square root. Now, when did I do this? If you look at all the 3 problems that we've had here, taking the square root happens last. It's going to be the last thing that you do, okay? So the last thing I do is I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and then I'm going to put a plus or minus sign right in front of my answer. With that, you ought to be set.